Hey, what's up guys, Jaeky here. Today I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing the Razer Blackshark V2 Pro. This was sent out by Razer for review, but as always, that does not affect my opinion of it. So this is a wireless headset by Razer and it's currently retailing for $200 USD and it comes in a black and white colorway. Here are all of the technical specs. They do use a 50mm driver. So the Blackshark V2 Pro is rated for 70 hours of battery life, which is absolutely insane. And in the box, you will get obviously the headset itself. I have the white colorway here. You also get the wireless dongle and you get a detachable microphone. The pickup pattern on the microphone is unidirectional. And of course, you get a USB extender so that you can extend the dongle closer to the headset. And finally, you get a USB-C charging cable. Both cables are braided and the quality of both cables are really nice. And of course, you also get your typical quick start guide in the box as well. Alright guys, now that I have the headset on my desk, I guess first let's start with the build quality of the headset itself. So you can see here everything is pretty much plastic. There's really no metal on it. So it does feel a little bit cheap because it is completely made out of plastic. But the upside to that is that this headset only weighs around 330 grams. So very light for a wireless headset. And when I wear it on my head, the comfort factor is really nice because it is very lightweight. But yeah, you're not getting any metal on this at all. The entire build is going to be plastic. Okay, let's touch on the comfort and adjustability. So you do have these hinges here that you can slide up and down to adjust. You don't have any markings, so there's no numbers or anything. So you can't really tell the length that you're adjusting it to. So you kind of just have to eyeball it for both sides. What I like to do is I just put it on my head and then I slide it while it's on my head until it's comfortable. I find that's a good way to do it. Yeah, the tension on these, on the hinges here, on the slides is actually pretty tight. So you're not going to accidentally slide them around too much. I can't really speak on the durability of it because I know some headsets after a while these hinges do loosen up and they do end up sliding around a lot. Like my HyperX Cloud 2s, the adjustments on my HyperX Cloud 2s are really loose now. Straight out of the box, these are really tight. They require a bit of force to push, so the tension on them is really good and you're really not going to have any issues with them sliding around. There's no swivel on the ear cups at all, so they're not going to swivel. They do tilt back and forth though, as you would expect, but there is no swivel on these. Okay, so the ear cups are over ear and they are oval shaped as well. And they use a memory foam material. So it's actually not going to be that pleather material that a lot of headsets have. This is a memory foam material and you get the same thing on the headband here. And there is quite a bit of plush on the headband. Comfort wise, I've had no issues with this headset. It's been very comfortable even after wearing it for several hours. I think that's mainly due to just the lightweight build of it and also this material as well is very soft on your head and on your ears as well. Like I said, it is a memory foam material. Oh, one more thing I want to touch on is the clamping force. So you can see here, if I'm not pushing the headset together or anything, and I'm just leaving it neutral, this is about where the ear cups rest. So the clamping force is not that high on these headsets, which is nice. I don't like headsets that have really high clamping force because it does make wearing it for a long period of time uncomfortable. But like I said, the comfort on the Blackshark V2s is very nice. The microphone is of course detachable. I will have a mic test later on in the video. I'll actually be doing the mic test during the software overview, so you guys can get an idea of that. There's a lot of different EQs that you can apply onto the headset as well as the microphone to change the sound profile. In terms of buttons, you get your volume dial here that will actually change your Windows volume instead of actually changing an amp inside of the headset. You have this to change the Windows volume. So some headsets do it where there's an amp inside of the headset and it's independent of Windows, but the volume wheel on the Blackshark V2 Pro actually changes the volume inside of Windows. On the bottom here, you have your USB-C port. So this is purely for charging. You can't actually use this for audio. This is purely for charging. And there is no 3.5mm jack. So if you want to use this on something like an Xbox or like a mobile device that utilizes a 3.5mm jack, you're pretty much out of luck. Here's the power button. You can hold it down to turn the headset off and vice versa. You also just hold it down to turn the headset on, and you have the LED here to show you whether it's on, off, or pairing. Right next to the power button, you have your mic mute button. So you actually push this in and it will do an audible click and it will stay clicked in when it's muted. You click it out again and that will unmute your mic. And on the other side, you have a little button here to change between the EQ profiles that you can store onboard memory onto the headset. So yeah, overall, the design of the headset, I actually really like. I think it looks very sleek, but to each their own, obviously. There's going to be people who hate this design. But in my opinion, especially without the mic on, I think this headset looks very minimalistic and very clean, especially in the white color. I really like it in the white. All right, guys, now let's go over the software, Razer Synapse, and also the mic as well on the Blackshark V2 Pro. So right now, the audio that you're hearing is straight stock out of the Blackshark V2 Pro plugged into my computer. There's no EQ on it or anything like that. This is the stock audio that you're going to get straight out of the box. So if you've watched any other reviews or if you've watched anybody talk about this headset, you know that the microphone on this headset is really nice, and it does sound very nice. There's a lot of body to my voice and a lot of warmth, and it sounds a lot more natural than your typical headset. And when you take into consideration that this is a wireless headset and the mic still sounds this good, that's actually very impressive. So, okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the software here. So the first tab is going to be your sound tab, where you can set all of your EQs. And like I mentioned earlier, all of these EQs do save onto the onboard memory, and you can toggle between them with that button on your headset. So the first one here is going to be the game preset, and the movie preset, music preset, and then you have a custom preset that you can make. I don't like any of these presets. I think out of all the default ones, maybe music is the best. Honestly, the stock presets aren't that great. On the second tab here is going to be your esports tab, and it says custom tuned with top esports athletes. And so you have different profiles for every game. I've tried the Valorant one on Valorant, and honestly, I don't really like it. It just makes the game sound really weird. I would stay away from these. I mean, you can definitely try these out and you might like them. And then going down, you can change the volume of the headset here. You can also do this just with the volume dial on the side of your headset. You can also turn on spatial audio up here, which I don't recommend at all. Spatial audio just makes every game sound very weird. You can try it out in a single player game maybe, but for competitive games, I would stay away from any sort of spatial audio and just stick to stereo. Okay, moving on to the enhancement tab here. The first one is going to be do not disturb. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to block out all calls from your mobile device if you have it connected via Bluetooth while you're gaming. The second one here is bass boost. If for whatever reason the headset is not giving you enough bass, and even like adding it here in the EQ still isn't enough, you can add even more bass. The third one here is sound normalization. It's going to make quiet audio louder and loud audio quiet. Basically, it's just going to normalize all those waveforms and make it so that your audio is at a consistent volume. I wouldn't recommend doing this, especially if you want spatial awareness while you're playing competitive games, but to each their own. Voice clarity is going to cut out a lot of bass in your headset, and it's going to add a lot of upper mids and highs. I'm not sure why you would ever want to use this. Maybe if you're in a conference call and you're having issues or having trouble hearing people speak clearly, then you can turn this on. All right, guys, so now we move on to the microphone. So like I said earlier, you've been hearing the microphone this entire time, and it's set to 100% here. If you're soft-spoken, I'd recommend always setting this to 100%. And you can see if I turn it down here, the microphone gets progressively quieter and quieter. But I'm just going to leave it on 100% here. I think I am peaking a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't sound horrible later. There's a voice gate down here that you can turn on, and I don't recommend turning this on because the Razer voice gate is very, very aggressive. So you can see here, if I turn it up here, what it's going to do is it's just going to start cutting out like background noise. So I'm going to progressively just keep turning this up, and you can see what it's doing here to my voice. It's going to start cutting out a lot of my sentences, and it's going to make me a little bit unintelligible. So I would recommend leaving the voice gate off. And mic preview, you can hear yourself if you want, so that you can get your sound dialed in. All right, moving down to enhancements, we have volume normalization. What this is going to do, it's going to make loud noises quieter. So if I'm yelling, it's going to make that a little bit quieter. And if I'm whispering, it's going to raise that and make it louder. So that's what volume normalization does. And moving on, we have vocal clarity. This, I believe, just cuts out the bass a little bit, and again adds those upper mids and highs, and it's going to make me sound a little bit more nasally and a little bit more tinny. So let's get rid of that. Next is mic noise cancellation. This is so if you have like an HVAC or AC going on in the background, this is going to help try and reduce those noises in the background, but it will reduce the quality of your voice. So if I turn this up to 100%, it's going to make me sound a little bit more muffled. So do keep that in mind if you want to use the setting. Make sure you find a good balance. Moving on to the mic equalizer. This is the most interesting part. I honestly just prefer just the flat frequency response of this headset mic. I think the default sounds the best. You do have a couple options here. You have mic boost, and this is just going to boost a bunch of mids here, and it's going to make my voice kind of sound more intimate and forward. So if you like this, then you can use the mic boost. The next one here is going to be broadcast. I know a lot of people like this. It's going to scoop out the mids, add bass. Honestly, I don't really like this. I think it makes my voice sound a little bit too muddy. From what I've heard from other people testing it as well, I think it makes everyone's voice just sound a little bit too muddy. So I wouldn't really recommend the broadcast, but if you like it, you like it. All right, moving on to the conference mode. This is going to boost those upper mids and the trebles, and it's just going to take away a lot of that bass. Just going to make you sound really nasally and tinny, so I would stay away from this. And then the most interesting one is custom. You can mess around with this and get your own little custom EQ. Like I said, I just prefer the default flat, but if you want, you can play around with this. Next is mic monitoring, the side tone. I don't recommend using this at all. The side tone on the Blackshark V2 Pro is very digital and sounds very compressed. Yeah, it's not a really good side tone, and I would just stay away from using this. All right, so that's pretty much the mic tab. Let's move on to the power tab here. So this you can set when your headset will turn off. I have it set down to the lowest 15 minutes. You can turn it off completely if you want, but yeah, this is just going to be how long your headset waits before turning off to save battery. And then the last tab here is just a demo for spatial audio, which like I mentioned earlier, you should probably just stay away from. One more thing that I almost forgot to do is a background audio test. So I'm going to just type on my keyboard here in the background so that you guys can get an idea of how much of this background noise you're going to be hearing. So right now I'm just typing on my keyboard in the background. Again, this is just a default mic profile with no filters applied, no enhancements checked at all, just the stock microphone. And you can sort of get an idea of how much of my keyboard this is actually picking up. Alright guys, now let's get into the actual sound of the Blackshark V2 Pros, both for music and in competitive games such as Valorant, and my overall experience using them. So the sound on the Blackshark V2 Pro is decent, but you do have to remember that this is a wireless gaming headset, so you're not going to be getting an audiophile experience out of these headsets. You're not going to be getting really good music listening quality. So if you are mainly listening to music and you don't need a wireless, then you probably want to look at something else. The main reason why you would want to get the Blackshark V2 Pro is going to be for that convenience of wireless if you really need a wireless headset, especially if you need a good microphone as well on top of that, like a good headset microphone, because you don't have a standalone microphone or you don't want to get a standalone microphone, then this is definitely a very solid option to look into. Using this headset for competitive games such as Valorant was actually a pretty good experience. So the soundstage on this headset is pretty intimate, like a very close down soundstage. You're not going to get a super wide soundstage out of this. But the imaging on these is actually pretty decent. I would give it maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of imaging. I could actually pinpoint footsteps very well using my own custom EQ curve. I didn't use any of the presets. Like I said, I did try the Valorant preset and it was decent, but it made my game sound very weird. So I had no issues whatsoever pinpointing footsteps. Verticality was a little bit weird when playing games like Fortnite or Apex. The verticality was a little bit hard to pinpoint, especially if there was a lot of stuff going on. Like for example, in Apex, when a lot of abilities are going off and you're trying to pinpoint that verticality, it does get a little bit hectic. But for simpler games such as Valorant or CS where there's not that much verticality, the Blackshark V2 Pro actually performs very well. One thing that I do want to touch on is that some people have had quality control issues and durability issues as well. If you read a lot of the reviews on Amazon, for example, a lot of people have complained that this headset has died on them like very quickly, like within 2 months. Some part of the headset just stops working. I can't really comment on that because I haven't had the Blackshark V2 Pros for that long. That is something to consider, is that the quality control and durability reputation of these headsets isn't looking too strong on Amazon. With that being said, for $200 USD, the Blackshark V2 Pro is a solid wireless gaming headset. Like I said, if you need a wireless gaming headset, especially if you need a good microphone as well alongside that, the Blackshark V2 Pro really is a no-brainer just because the microphone is so good and you get pretty solid wireless performance as well with that 70 hours of battery life. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If it helps you out, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.